It's Friday, October 30th. Welcome aboard to this edition of Barnstable Today. I'm Kevin Friel.
And I'm Len Gobiel.
We'd like to remind you right at the top that the meetings we cover are available on demand at the town's website, www.town.barnstable.ma.us.
It's fall. It's close to November. And there are a lot of people on Cape Cod who are suffering and who are looking for help. We had a chance to talk to Betsy Satharis, who is the Executive Director of the Cape Cod Times Needy Fund, and she told us what they're doing to help the people of Cape Cod. Year after year, the Cape Cod Times puts on their front page a request for donations, and people at Christmas time generally feel or want to feel good about themselves, so they make a donation to the Cape Cod Times Needy Fund. Tell us a little bit about how that money is distributed.
Well, the money is distributed, first of all, year-round, which I think is new information for a lot of people. For a long time, the Needy Fund was a Christmas fund or a holiday fund back in the 30s and 40s, and so a lot of people got used to that idea of it being a holiday fund. In addition, all of our funds are raised at that time of year. But we operate on a year-round basis, and we take requests Monday through Friday, and we do everything on a case-by-case individual basis. So anybody on Cape Cod can call the Needy Fund who has a need for financial assistance for any range of basic human needs, and we will do an intake with them over the phone.
Is there a form that people have to fill out? How involved do you get when you start talking to the people who are applicants for the program?
It gets very involved depending upon the level of need and the type of need. They don't have to fill out any paperwork, though, because we have a completely computerized intake system that gets information for everything from Social Security number to annual household budget, and we ask a range of questions based upon household income coming in and household expenses, get information on all family members, household demographic information. So we do all that over the phone through a intake system that we follow.
How many people did you help last year?
Oh, total, and over 2,000 families. I like to qualify that because when I do my end-of-the-year count, it ends up being closer to 4,000 individuals because each family is made up of anywhere from 1 to 7+ individuals. So we're really helping and reaching out to a lot of people on Cape Cod.
Without identifying anybody or any family in particular, what's the easiest case that you ever had?
Oh, easy cases are just, food. That's always in fact, I did one today. It's just someone on a limited income, maybe Social Security, maybe Social Security disability. They might get $10 to $24 in food stamps, which isn't a lot for the month. And they've had a car problem. Their car broke down or they needed brakes. Any small emergency like that, and so they're calling because they find in the middle of the month they have no money left for groceries. So that's a straightforward, easy intake, which we get very few of these days.
Yeah, I'm sure. How is the money handled financially? Do you make out a check and give it to the person individually, or do you go out and buy the food, or do you have suppliers who will give the food to the people and then you pay them? How does that system work?
We have a vendor system. No money ever changes hands with clients. We're very clear on that. So when somebody calls, whether it's rent, a utility, food, the money is, first of all, we send paperwork to that vendor verifying the type of assistance that we're giving. With landlords, we send out landlord letters verifying how much the client actually owes in back rent, date of the month they pay, how much their portion or the full amount that they pay. The landlord has to sign a letter attesting to be the owner of that property and giving the person 30 days minimum continued tenancy. So we have all these safeguards in place. And then weekly, I run checks based upon that signed paperwork. And so the money goes directly to the vendor in a check form.
We live on idyllic Cape Cod, and it's hard to believe, and I'm sure that there are some of our viewers who might say, I can't believe that there are people who are on a year-round basis who are needy enough to want to call the Needy Fund, or to need money for food, or they're homeless, or any of those things. That really happens on Cape Cod.
Well, let's put it this way. Do you ever go to Dunkin' Donuts and get coffee?
Yes.
Okay. The person serving you coffee is probably making minimum wage, maybe a little more if they're the manager of that particular Dunkin' Donuts. We have a lot of service-oriented industry on Cape Cod, and most of the majority of people who are keeping that whole industry running are living on a minimum or just above a minimum wage. And you might have two people in the family doing that, but still, because this is an idyllic place, we also have really high rents, and, of course, as you know, throughout the state, some of the highest electric rates in the country. So they're just trying to live also in this idyllic place so that other people can come and enjoy it, but they're just making a living wage, if you can even call it that. They're really under the radar and struggling from day to day, never mind paycheck to paycheck. So there's a lot of that. And then you get even the middle income wage earner, which I consider myself that. If my husband were to lose his job or become very ill, he doesn't have disability or through employment. So that would be the loss of an entire income in our household.
Sure.
And maybe it would only be short term. But our bills are paid based upon both of those incomes. And so when an emergency happens like that, or a crisis, which happens to a lot of people, and not even a spouse, it could be a child who's sick, and then you have to take off time from work. Sure, you've got 5 paid holidays and 2 weeks vacation, but what if the child has leukemia? Then you're taking lots of unpaid time, and the stress, maybe you're missing work because of that as well, and you're doing your best to keep up between maybe the two of you. But it can really, really happen to anyone.
I have a friend whose favorite expression is, people are only a transmission job away from poverty on Cape Cod, and it's still true today, isn't it?
It is true. It is true. And there any type of emergency like that away from financial crisis.
When is the Cape Cod Times Needy Fund going to start making more publicity or start advertising the fact that the Needy Fund is starting to begin again in the Cape Cod Times?
We will be doing that in November. At our next board meeting, we'll set our goal, which is always a lively discussion, and then we will announce that goal in the paper, and then the daily stories will start right after that. But people can donate year-round as well. We encourage that, and it's not just at Christmas that we are able to take in donations. That is the time that we really just publicize the work of the fund. But the work of the fund is being done year-round.
Are there other fundraisers that you have throughout the course of the year, in addition to the publicity that the Cape Cod Times Needy Fund gets around the holiday season?
No, that is our main one, but we have been fortunate to have other organizations come to us to run fundraisers. This year we were the recipients of the Seaside Le Mans money put on by the Davenport companies, which is going to, do a lot of good in the coming year. I've been, just last year for the first time, I started writing grants because the need has so escalated. We didn't have to do that before. We could pretty much, on our monthly service expenditures, budget that and use the private funds to cover all of that, but we really have seen such a drastic increase in need that we felt we needed to meet that need. And a way to do that was to begin to write grants. So I have been doing that as well to increase the funds available to Cape Cod residents through the Needy Fund. And plus, other civic organizations or even individuals run fundraisers for the Needy Fund. There's the Mashpee, the Quashnet School, does the Rockathon. It's a fantastic fundraiser for the Needy Fund, and they just started that a couple of years ago. And many schools do that. They have the kids get involved with chores at home, and they earn money and put it all together and then donate that to the Needy Fund. People do yoga retreats and have a portion of that go to the Needy Fund. So individuals, groups, schools, businesses, they all find a way, some way throughout the year to get involved.
Are you at liberty to tell us what your budget is and how much you give out every year? How much money do you...
We took in last year $621,000.
$621,000.
Our goal was $550,000. And that's what we took in.
It probably won't be too far away from here that you'll be looking at $1 million.
Well, we could have spent that this year, Len.
And you'll give it all away.
And we'd give it all away in a
Sure.
heartbeat.
I want to thank Betsy Satharis for taking some time with us today to talk about the Needy Fund of Cape Cod and the islands.
Thanks for joining us today on this edition of Barnstable Today. We'll catch you right back here on Monday.